start streaming now. Okay. It's on.
Oh, it is on. Okay. It is working.
There you go.
Save my voice a little bit. This is good. So, for those of you who have not been here,
Testing?
this represents Prince William County. That's what this whole artwork is here. And it's kind of unique that this is what we saw when we bought this 10-acre piece of property 30 years ago, Jillian? 25 years ago. So that represents our community as a whole. And I'm going to turn this over to the rabbi and Anise, and let's do this.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome. I know we have a lot of guests here, so thank you to everyone for coming, whether you're here for the WRJ convention or you're here to show support for the Jewish community in trying times. Thank you for coming to this Show Up for Shabbat. If you are new-ish to Shabbat services and know about our service, a lot of it's in Hebrew, which you may not be familiar with, but all of the Hebrew is transliterated, so you can read the words that we're saying in English lettering, and a pretty direct translation will be on the bottom. On the opposite side of the page, which we will sometimes read from, is more poetic interpretations of the prayers. So also, if we're reading a lot of Hebrew and you don't read Hebrew and you don't know the tunes and you're lost, a good place to focus your mind is the left side of the page because they're beautiful and you'll still be in theme with us. And if you get lost, we do have our slideshow up here will have the page number so you can kind of keep up. And so we will begin our service now with an opening song of praise on page 648. And now, to light our Sabbath candles and say the blessings found on page 120 and 121, I would like to invite up all of the past presidents of Ner Shalom Sisterhood. Current and past presidents of Ner Shalom Sisterhood.
Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
We continue with our service with the Lecha Dodi on pages 138 and 139. In reform fashion, we will sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we get to verse 9, I invite you, if you are able, to rise and face the door and imagine the Sabbath as a bride entering to the sanctuary to join us.
La 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 lecha dodi, la 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 likrat kala, la 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 penei Shabbat nekavel, la 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 lecha dodi, la 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 likrat kala, la 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 penei Shabbat nekavel, shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, hishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litilah. La 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 lecha dodi, la 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 likrat kala, la 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 penei Shabbat nekavel. Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mikor habracha, merosh mekedem nesucha, sof maaseh v'amach tfilah. La 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 lecha dodi, la 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 likrat kala, la 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 penei Shabbat nekavel. 5. Hitoreri, ki ba'orech, kumi uri, shir daveri, kevod Adonai, alak miklah. La 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 lecha dodi, la 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 likrat kala, la 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 penei Shabbat nekavel. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha, uv'soha
may be seated.
Yes, we are.
And now that we have opened our hearts to praise with Shir Hadash, we have lit our Sabbath candles and blessed the Shabbat, and we have invited in the Sabbath bride to formally join us in our sanctuary. And so we are ready to segue into our Mariv service with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144.
Yikada v'yikada shemei rabba.
Amen.
V'yamad ivrach erutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayei t'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'gala, ba'gala, u'v'zman kariv v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam olam me'omaya. Yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitfa'ar v'yitromam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha rechu. Leila mikol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram v'yamar v'yimeru. Amen.
On page 146 is our call to worship. Please prepare yourselves for the Baruchu.
Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated. I would like to call up our current sisterhood president, Terry Ehrlichman, to read. Whoop, nope, I skipped something. Sorry. No, that's right. To read on page 149.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night, as heaven spans into infinity. You set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, for whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aralim. Page 150.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael. Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachmeinu u'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam ha'ed ki em chayenu le'orech yameinu u'bahem nege yomam v'layla yomei yomam v'layla v'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
On page 152 and 153 is the Shema, followed by the Ve'ahavta. I invite you to prepare yourselves to say these words of Torah.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevo Shem Kevo Malachuto Leolam Leolam Vaed. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in thy heart, shall be in thy heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, and when you liest down, and when you risest up, and when you risest up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be
seated. And I would like to invite up Lori Perry to read on the top of page 157.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe that we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to the promised passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
On page 158 is the Micha Mocha, the song of our liberation that our mother Miriam sang when she crossed the Sea of Reeds after Moses parted it. The first verse comes directly from the Torah, from that part. And so being that we are here in community in a moment of welcoming in liberation at a time when that feels slightly threatened, and we are here with all of the women of Reform Judaism, and this is Miriam's song. We're going to sing Debbie Friedman's version that sort of pieces Micha Mocha with the Miriam song, which can also be found on page 646, so you can flip between the two. And if you feel so moved to get up and dance, as Miriam did when she led our people to freedom, please do so.
So we're going to start on page 646. We're going to sing through Miriam's song, and then at the end, we will go to page 158 and then sing through Micha Mocha. So we'll limit the turning of pages. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Someone's got to get up. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. She wove everyone is saying our history. With every thread and every strand she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, we're gonna dance tonight. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance the whole night long. As Miriam stood upon the shore, she gazed across the seas. The wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to the promised land. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance the whole night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice and sung, she sang with praise and might. We just lived through a miracle, we're gonna dance tonight. Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha, Elim Adonai, Micha Mocha, Ne'etar B'Kodesh, Nora Tehilot, Osef Eleh, Nora Tehilot, Osef Eleh. Malechutecha, Valuvanecha,
feel free? Page 161.
So this melody that Noah Aronson wrote for the left side of the page starts with the English, let there be love and understanding, which we so much need right now. And after the first two lines, then we would go into Hashkivenu, which is on page 160. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let's do that again. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Ashkivenu, Lishalom again. Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Ashkivenu, Lishalom. So this is where you get to pick a part. You can either do let there, or you can do Ashkivenu. Pick your part. Ready? And let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. One more time. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Everybody on let there. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Page 162, a song for our joy of Shabbat, this time to rest and rejoice.
So this song is really going to bring joy. Vishamru, written by Craig Taubman. Vishamru, B'nai Yisrael, we're going to sing together at HaShabbat, La'asot, L'Dorotam, Brit Olam. We're going to sing that all together, and then you're going to echo me, okay, on the verses. You'll get it. Vishamru, B'nai Yisrael, et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat, L'Dorotam, Berit Olam. Vishamru, B'nai Yisrael, et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat, L'Dorotam, Berit Olam. Now you echo, Beni, Uven. Now together, B'nai Yisrael. Repeat, Oti, Leolam. Shabbat vayinafash. Shabbat,
Shabbat
vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat. La'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam. Berit olam. One more time, keep clapping. Yishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat. La'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam. Berit olam.
We come now to the central portion of our evening prayer. The tefillah starts on page 164 and continues over the next few pages. I invite you to prepare yourselves for these blessings.
Anananananana Adonai. Anananananana Satai Tiftach. Anananananana Ufi Yagid. Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Tiftach. Ananananana Ufi Yagid. Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu,
Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula livnei bneihem, L'ma'an Shemo v'Ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai,
Magen Avraham
Ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah, Rav le'Hoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, Umatir hasurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al geburot, Umidom elach, Melech meimit umechayeh,
Umatzmiach Yeshua,
V'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai,
Mechayeh
hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yalu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. I'd like to invite up Helene to read on page 173. Is there a Helene in the house? Oh.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Disturb us, Adonai. Ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from the shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai. Deny to us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake up, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by the half-forgotten melodies and the rubric prayers of yesteryear. Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor or slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action.
Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 175. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yir'ah na'avod. Page 178. Shalom Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take a moment now for silent prayer. You might use the words on pages 180 and 181 or the meditations of your own heart.
In the middle of page 180. Yehi Ularatzon. Yehi Ularatzon. Imrefi, Imrefi. Ve'yon libi lefanecha. Yehi Ularatzon. Imrefi, Imrefi. Ve'yon libi lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Ve'goli. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Ve'goli.
May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, Adonai, our rock and our Redeemer. Now I turn the bima over to Judy Silver-Weisberg and Abby Fisher.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Ner Shalom.
I thank you, Lucretia, for inviting me to come up to introduce our next speaker. And for those of you who don't know me, I am the current president of the district, Mid-Atlantic District, which Lucretia will be in about 12 hours. No, 24 hours. But who's counting? We both are. No. Anyway, I'm here tonight to introduce you to a wonderful friend of ours and a colleague and a leader who is someone that you will really learn from. And this is Abigail, or Abby Fisher, as we know her. She's Women in Reform Judaism's Vice President of Philanthropy. And she's also been the chair of the WRJ program for the WRJ program for the 2017 consultation on conscience. And she's done so many things. She has so much education that it blew my mind. She has a BA in biology. She monitored religion. She has a PhD in cell biology. I did not know that about you before. She has a master's in Jewish studies, and she also is a founding chair of the URJ 6-Point Science Academy, and serves on the Commission on Social Action of Reform Judaism. So before we get dizzy from all these accolades, before I go on, I'm happy to introduce you to Abby, who will do a good bra.
One doesn't lead with one's education when you meet people. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I want to thank Ner Shalom for welcoming us. I want to thank WRJ's Mid-Atlantic District for welcoming me. And thank you, Rabbi Goldstein, for letting me stand on your bima. We joined together tonight not only to celebrate the sweetness of Shabbat, but also to stand in solidarity with the Jewish community of Pittsburgh and with our fellow Jews throughout the United States. For those of you who are from another faith tradition or no faith at all, who have come here tonight to stand with us, we thank you. I don't think I can express how much it means that you are here. So, we stand here to declare that we will not be frightened or cowed. Even my college-age daughter is gathering with her Jewish and her non-Jewish friends tonight. Our heads are heavy, but our hearts are heavy, but our heads are unbowed. So it is with sorrow, with pride, and yes, with defiance, that I turn now to this week's Torah portion. Despite the fact that this week's Parsha is called Chaya Sarah, or the life of Sarah, she dies in the second verse. The rest of the portion is concerned with Abraham's purchase of the cave at Machpelah for her burial, the search for Rebekah and her marriage to Isaac, and lastly, Abraham's death and his burial. In the Torah, a woman's commentary, the commentary suggests that Sarah's death, paired with Isaac's consummation of his marriage to Rebekah, suggests that Sarah's life continues through the next matriarch. Certainly, a large part of this parsha is concerned with Rebekah. We follow Abraham's slave as he's given his charge to bring Isaac a wife and not under any circumstance to take Isaac away from the land. The slave's journey to Aram Naharaim, his prayers to identify the right woman, Rebecca's generosity at the well, the negotiations regarding her marriage, and the marriage itself. Interestingly, Rebecca must herself consent to this marriage. A midrash derives from this the law that a fatherless maiden may not be given in marriage without her consent. So in actuality, had the rabbis named this portion after most of its action, rather than after its opening lines, it would be called the marriage of Rebecca instead of the life of Sarah. But what's the importance of Sarah's life in Rebecca's marriage? Apparently a lot. Isaac is completely absent from all the machinations that lead to his wedding. But when Rebecca arrives, we read, "And Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother Sarah, and he took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. Thus did Isaac take comfort after the death of his mother." Sarah's shadow looms large over Isaac and Rebekah's marriage, at least at first. Not only is this the first time in the Torah that we read of a man's love for a woman, it's also the only time that tent and mother appear together. Why are Sarah and Rebekah so inextricably linked? They are links in the parallel chain to Abraham and Isaac. The Torah tells their stories not just because they were important while they lived, but because their legacy is important. None of the matriarchs or patriarchs lived in a vacuum. Each generation continued where the other left off. Each lived not only their own life under their own peculiar circumstances, but they also built the legacy, the spiritual life and ethnic legacy that we enjoy today. The inheritance that fulfills the promise that God made to Abraham in the Parsha we read 2 weeks ago. "I will make from you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and it shall be a blessing." So too does our generation not live in a vacuum. We too are links in a chain that links past generations to future ones. Largely, as individuals, we tend to be aware of this. We tell stories about our grandparents to our children, point out family resemblances, and pass on traditions. As an organization, Women of Reform Judaism, WRJ, is also aware that the current generation links the past and the future. What is now known as WRJ was founded 105 years ago in 1913 as the National Federation of Temple Sisterhoods, NFTS. We like initials. We immediately became not only the umbrella organization for women's groups, or ladies' auxiliaries, as some were called then, but also a driving force for preserving the future, the legacy of Reform Judaism. The women of NFTS took on the task of educating rabbis from the very start, raising money for scholarships and to house the boys at Hebrew Union College. Today, WRJ remains the single largest cumulative donor to Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion. Today, we provide scholarships and awards not only to rabbinical students, but also to cantorial students, faculty, and students in the other HUC-JIR programs. And if you ever go to Cincinnati, Ohio, you can go and see the Sisterhood dorm. It's not a dorm anymore, but it's still there. And it's still called that. Of course, the world has changed since 1913, but WRJ is still working to ensure the future of Reform Judaism. We now not only support students at HUC-JIR, but we also support students at seminaries around the world, in London, in South America, in Israel, in Germany, and in the former Soviet Union. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I never thought I'd say the words rabbinical seminary and Germany or Soviet Union in the same sentence. In the past, the women of NFTS founded NIFTY, the National Federation of Temple Youth. Today, WRJ continues to support NIFTY and our camps, helping to make sure our youth become the next link in the chain. As early as the 1920s, the leaders of NFTS were advocating for the ordination of women. Today, we work to make sure that female rabbis are paid equitably relative to male ones. In fact, we are working to erase gender-based wage disparity everywhere in the Jewish world and beyond. In 1915, NFTS passed its first resolution, arguing against a literacy test for immigrants. Today, we continue to issue resolutions and statements, not just on immigration. Sadly, some things have not changed all that much in 105 years, but on women's rights, LGBTQ rights, voting rights, economic justice, and much more. Our most recent resolutions were in favor of affordable housing and against child marriage. While some of our positions are no longer relevant, those of us who took a field trip this afternoon know that we now have the right as women to vote, and I hope all of us will exercise that right this week. But in 105 years, we have never retracted a resolution. Not once have we backed down. Our resolutions are rooted in our Jewish values, those values that have been passed down to us from our ancestors, all the way from Sarah and Rebecca, and they do not waver. Circumstances change, our values do not. And our world is changing. Our young people are not joining our synagogues, nor our women's groups routinely as a matter of course. We are links in a beautiful chain, but each link has its own character, its own color, if you will. WRJ is actively engaged in forging the next link in this beautiful chain. We are at the beginning of the implementation phase of a strategic plan that will make us stronger and more able to reach the women of today, wherever they may be, in our synagogues or not, and help them forge the next link in the chain. It will also make us better able to assist our women's groups as they move into whatever it is that the future brings. So together, we can ensure that this chain leads well into the future. Sarah and Rebecca were the first two links in a long chain of women. We are their spiritual descendants, inheriting from our past a thousands of years old legacy, a legacy of values and traditions that is beautiful and vibrant and has given meaning to the lives of hundreds of generations of women and men. It is our job to make sure that that chain remains unbroken, ever adapting into the future. WRJ is one way we make sure that our chain remains unbroken for hundreds and thousands of years into the future. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.
We turn our thoughts now to those who are in need of healing of mind, body, or spirit. On our Mishaberach list this week, we have Howard Feinberg, Wendy Labenow, Ricky Grant, Mary Kennedy, Edith and Norman King, Skip and Kathy Brace, Denise Logan, Ruth Brenner, Ron Ely, John Kaur, Rosalind Cantu, Peter Winkler, Karen Thompson, Dean Ashley, Bernie Strassner, Sharon Buell, Jean Walker, Louis Perlman, Eileen Milner, Mike Haug, Bill Brooks, Ellen Simmons, Brianna Campbell, Josiah Pendleton, Denise Smith, Lori Perry, Scott Platts, Dave Avery, Bob Sparkman, Harvey and Nancy Kronig, Nikki Rubel, Celia Sarah Batfru Medina, Gail Garifo, Cheryl Maniho, Seal Honig, Debbie and Paul Nicely, McKenna Heiss, Opal Young, Nick Joliot, Burke Asher, Rebecca Barnes, Steve and Marion Renard, and we pray for all those who are still recovering from the recent hurricanes. We know we have some guests here from Temple of Israel Wilmington whose congregation suffered a lot of damage, and we know there are others out there still trying to recover from that. And of course, we keep in our thoughts those in Pittsburgh who were physically injured and all those who were in proximity and need healing of spirit. And so if anyone else has a name of someone they'd like to share at this time that we should say a healing prayer for. Misha Berach is on the middle of page 371. We also pray for the health and safety of those in our community who are active military duty, first responders, and peacekeepers, those around the world whose jobs are dangerous so that our lives might not be. We have on that list Oni Hinnanen, Joshua Ehrlichman, Martin Brown, Richard Rubino, Howard Mergler, Kyle Smet, Andrew Booth, Joseph Cald, Daniel and Bridget Stambowski, many members of the Nemero family, Pete Abelson, Jeremy Sharkey, Benjamin Hurd, Alexander Furman, Daniel Gilman, Curtis Miller, Rob Apgar, Ben Farrell, Caleb Menzies, and Francis Petraka. We also pray for all those whose names we do not know, but some tune in on our live stream, those ships at sea and those in the armed services that are part of our virtual community. And again, the first responders, two police officers that were shot in Pittsburgh, and we're very grateful and pray for the health and safety of all of our first responders here in Prince William County. The police chief is here with us tonight, so we're very grateful to those that keep us safe. May the one who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and our mothers, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, bless those who are serving in our armed services. May God guard them and keep them from harm. If they find themselves in dangerous path, may God bring them back whole of mind and body to all those who love them. May it be your will, Adonai Tzivaot, to lead them to safety and to protect them from each and every enemy and ambush. May God make their journey successful and guard their going out and coming in with mercy and love, and let them be blessed to return home with life and peace now and forever. And let us say, we turn toward our concluding prayers. The Aleinu is on page 586. I invite you to prepare yourselves for the ark to be opened.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kloye haratzot, velo samanu kamishbechot ha'adama,
שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. You may be seated. And now we turn our thoughts to those who are no longer with us in body, but remain with us in spirit. We are marking a yahrzeit for Stephen Greenberg, Ida Barrick, Donald Joseph Roth, Joan Hannah Simon, Margaret Reeser, Oscar Markowitz, Dora Balin, Anne Greenberg, and Sadie Mergler, and are within a year of mourning for Ivy Bells, Betsy Klarman, Jeannie Grissom, Lee McCoy, Renee Adler-Kaplan, Norman Rosen, Tom Metzler, Amanda Chazen, Rodney Smith, Diane King, Alyssa Al-Hadeth, Scott Beagle, Martin Duke Anguiano, Nicholas Dorat, Aaron Feiss, Jamie Gutenberg, Chris Hickston, Luke Hoyer, Kara Loughran, Gina Montalto, Joaquin Oliver, Elena Petty, Meadow Pollack, Helena Ramsey, Alex Schachter, Carmen Shentrup, Peter Wong, Neil Gilman, Karen Josephson, and Dorothy McQuiston. And for those at Tree of Life Synagogue, the Torah calls upon us to rise and honor our elders. Instead, this week, we sat Shiva for our elders, those to whom we look for wisdom on how to navigate this world. Od yanavun beseva beshanim vera'anim yeheyu. In old age, they shall still produce fruit. They are full of sap and freshness. From Psalms. How did Seva, old age, become Shiva, sitting in shock for untimely death? This was the life of Rose Mallinger, 97, Melvin Wax, 88, Bernice and Sylvan Simon, 84 and 86, Joyce Feinberg, 75, Daniel Stein, 71, Irving Younger, 69, Jerry Rabinowitz, 66, Richard Gottfried, 65, Cecil Rosenthal, 59, and David Rosenthal, 54. Shall we also sit Shiva for America, the beautiful land that we love? Shall we sit Shiva for Abraham and Sarah, who welcomed the stranger to their tent? Shall we sit Shiva for the leadership of Moses, who was the humblest of all people? Shall we sit Shiva for Hillel, who taught that which is hateful to you, do not do to another? The rest is commentary. Go and be that commentary. Shall we sit Shiva for Emma Lazarus, whose poem adorns the lady who welcomes immigrants to this country with the torch of liberty? For this week, we did sit Shiva for the Holy One who made all humans in God's image, as God sat weeping amidst the ruins of a sanctuary. There are those who proclaim darkness is light, who proclaim fake is true, who say that everyone not like them is another, who live by stereotype and prejudice, who seek to divide, disparage, and demean. Yet in the face of encroaching darkness, we gather and hold hands, proclaiming our humanity. Long ago, we ate the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We know good and evil. Each week, we strive to separate darkness from light, brokenness from wholeness, helping from harming. For there was another tree in the Garden of Eden. Each week, we grasp that tree of life as we return the Torah scroll to its ark. We hold on to that Torah even as another 11 have joined the too long list of Jews who were killed only because they were Jews. Their deaths were not a Kiddush Hashem, a sanctification of God's name. Their deaths were a horrible tragedy. The Kiddush Hashem, sanctification of God's name, is how we will live our lives in the light of their lives. We will choose to live. We will choose life over death, caring over callousness, meaning over meanness. Od lo avda tikvatenu, we will not lose hope. We will organize, we will help, we will march, we will reach out, we will lobby, we will have compassion, and we will vote. In a time of mourning, the time of mourning has passed. It's been a week. It's time to get up from Shiva. It is the time to stand up and cry out, Hashoftei ha'aretz lo ya'asu mishpat. Shall the rulers of this land not stand up for justice? For even if the Messiah tarries, we still believe, Tzedek, Tzedek tirdof. Justice, justice, you surely shall pursue. It's a poem by Rabbi Michael Strassfield. If anyone else has a name of someone they'd like to remember this Shabbat, please do so. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. Mourners and those who wish to join them may rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yeruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon u'v'yom echon u'v'chayei t'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'v'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei t'kudesha barichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Hoseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Hoseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom alenu. Ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Please be seated. I'd like to invite up our president for some announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi Liz. Shabbat Shalom. First, I'd like to thank all of our visitors who came tonight to join us on this solidary Shabbat. Very pleased that you're all here, and we thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Liz and Cantor in Residence Anise, for leading a wonderful service. Thank you to the sisterhood for the oneg that we will all enjoy soon. I want to welcome also Prince William County Chief of Police Barry Barnard. Ner Shalom has an excellent relationship with the Prince William County Police, and after the tragedy in Pittsburgh last Saturday, while the officers here are welcome side, or the officers in the parking lot, Chief Barnard, your presence speaks volumes. You've joined us on other occasions, but thank you especially for joining us tonight. I also want to welcome Helene Morange, I hope I didn't mispronounce it, past president of WRJ, Abby Fisher and Anise Benamy from the current WRJ board, Judy Silver-Weisberg, current but not for long president of WRJ Mid-Atlantic District, and all of the sisters from the Mid-Atlantic District who have joined us here tonight to celebrate Shabbat. We're proud and honored both to host your convention, and especially that one of our own, Lucretia Levy, will be installed as the next president of the WRJ Mid-Atlantic District. And for those of you who do not know either of us and have not made the connection, the fact that we share a last name is not a coincidence. A few internal announcements. Ner Shalom has started a capital campaign called Be a Light, Buy a Light. This campaign was planned before the tragic events of last weekend, but will enhance our outside lighting and provide other improvements as well. It can be found under the Support CNS tab on our website. Tot Shabbat will be on November 9th at 6:30 p.m. We'll be celebrating and learning about Hanukkah. There'll be religious school this Sunday, November 4th, but not the Sunday following, which is Veterans Day. And Sisterhood on November 18th, we'll have a gift wrapping fundraiser during religious school, and then at 1 o'clock, a paid up Sisterhood luncheon at the City Tavern. And Shabbat Shalom.
One last note as well. If you didn't pick up on my comment earlier, we are live streaming. We always live stream our service, so I know nobody had their phone out at all during the service, of course, but in a moment when we conclude, if you'd like to share the video with your own sisterhoods back home or whatever, you can find us on YouTube at Ner Shalom is our channel name, easy to find, so please do that. And our concluding song is Ose Shalom, as composed by Nava Tehila.
At the bottom of page 598. Ose Shalom B'Roma, Uya Ase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru.
Shabbat Shalom. Please join us for a Kiddush and Oneg.
Thank you.